Hello, this is Khaladoon and welcome to Let's Analyze Depths of Irkalla. Today we're going to talk about difficulty curves using the Spider's Den, the White Wall Dungeon, as an example. Now, in case you're not familiar with the term difficulty curve, it represents how hard a game or a level is over time. Typically, one wants the curve to be kind of a smooth incline with maybe a few small bumps. So that would represent that the game's steadily increasing in difficulty, with a few parts being harder or easier than others to provide some contrast. Now, in Minecraft, difficulty is of course very subjective, but there's a few things that I think we can all universally agree on. For example, a ghast is certainly more dangerous than a single zombie, and 2 creepers is definitely more dangerous than 1 creeper. So, even though it's subjective and partly dependent on, your armor and your tactics and everything, we can still kind of categorize what everything's coming from. And in fact, what I'm going to try to do this episode is approach it numerically. Now, this is an approach that many tabletop board games and role-playing games have. Kind of classic examples that in Dungeons & Dragons 3rd edition, Big Monster the Troll has a challenge rating of 5, so it should be a suitable enemy for a group of level 5 players. But it's still very subjective. A party without any fire spells or anything is going to have themselves a very hard time. Whereas, if you have a wizard who specializes in fire spells, they're going to take that troll down almost effortlessly. So, in Complete the Monument maps, I would say that the basic challenge there is just a single spawner. Now, that has several different tactics to deal with it. You can charge at it, you could tunnel under, you could drop TNT on it from above, or just light it up, etc. Loads of different tactics, but from that baseline challenge, we can iterate on it. For example, we could have 2 spawners instead of 1, or even 3. Maybe 2 different spawners with a different mob in each to provide different tactical scenarios, or hiding the spawners. So, what we're going to try to do now is quantify how those modifications to our basic challenge can do stuff. Well, for the Spider's Den, obviously the main mob you're going to run into is a spider. So let's just say that a non-concealed spider spawner has a difficulty of 1. We also have cave spiders, which, at least on normal difficulty, when they hit deal 1 heart of damage, plus 2 more for the poison, which is about 3 times as much as the spiders, but they also die a lot easier. They only have 6 hearts instead of 8. So, just for numerical ease, let's go ahead and call it difficulty 2. We're going to say cave spider is approximately twice as dangerous as a regular one. Now again, the exact number is subjective, but I think we can all agree that a cave spider is at least more dangerous. Next up, we have concealed spawners. This is pretty common. In the Spider's Den, there's a lot of ones that are either hidden inside trees, and a few that are hidden inside the ceiling of the caves later on. The extra challenge from the hidden spawners is more identifying where the mobs come from, but an attentive player will usually find it pretty fast. So I'm going to say just add 2. So for example, the regular spider spawner would be a 3, and the cave spider spawner would be a 4 if they were hidden. And adding 2, again, it's subjective, but it's reasonable. It's a flat increase on top of the normal. Now, I'll discuss what webs do in a bit, but they're so ubiquitous, I'm just going to kind of ignore them and factoring them into the actual difficulty. Now, what we have here is a top-down kind of schematic diagram of just where all the spawners and all the chests are in the Spider's Den and how the player moves throughout the level. And really, we can divide this into 4 zones. There's the start, the cliffs, the cliff top, and the den. And each one has different challenges. So starting with the start, we have 2 concealed spider spawners up in the tree, 1 concealed cave spider spawner hidden beneath a tunnel of webs, and just a regular open spider spawner over there. Add these up, we get a difficulty of 11, mainly from all the concealed spawners. Next up, the cliffs. They have 4 visible spawners, and that's it. Well, you may also have noticed now that I kind of ignored the 2 little side tunnels there and there. That's mainly because, they're optional and off to the side, and the mobs pretty much stay in there. They don't really come out and add to the difficulty. As for the cliff top, we have nothing but concealed spawners, actually. 2 cave spiders on one half in this forest, and 2 regular spiders on the other. So numerically, that comes out to a difficulty there of 14. Now, do note that between the 2 forests, we have a bunch of blank space, actually, so there'll probably be a few extra mobs trying to murder you. So in practice, the difficulty is actually a little higher. Finally, we come to a cave. This place is a tactical nightmare, with the side tunnels always close enough to let them flank you if you're not careful, so we can't ignore the side tunnels. Now, there's 2 main objectives here, getting to the wool and getting out into the monument. I'm just going to do what I did in the Let's Play and start by assuming we go to the wool first. So, the clearest path to the wool takes us by 6 spider spawners, 3 concealed spider spawners, and 2 cave spider spawners, for a total of 19. We then have the clearest path to the monument, would take us by 11 spider spawners and a single cave spider spawner for 13, although this drops down to 11 if the player's previously gone through the center tunnel already. So, assuming this path, that the player goes to the wool first, we then have the difficulty curve shown here. We have a tricky start with 11 to set a good baseline difficulty for the zone, a nice kind of relaxing transition with the cliffs, and then the difficulty quickly ramps up till we get the wool. That final zone there is easily the nastiest with those hidden spider spawners and 2 cave spider spawners. And then as we start heading out and getting towards the monument, the difficulty definitely relaxes a bit, drops back down to the baseline. Now, a point I want to make with this, that's something nice when we look at this numerically, is let's go and look at these first 3 areas again. The start, the cliffs, and the cliff top. Now, really cool thing here is that they all have exactly 4 spawners, but have wildly different difficulties. By iterating on this basic challenge of a spawner, it's very, very easy to make an area jump from simple to challenging. In fact, I would say that not understanding this way of increasing difficulty is precisely the reason that so many maps fall down to spawner spam in their last few areas. Instead of trying to increase the difficulty through clever tricks, by placement, stuff like that, they instead will just plop down, 20 cave spider spawners and call it a day. It's bad design, and, sometimes you can ignore it if the area is aesthetically pretty enough, but it doesn't change the fact that it is bad design. Now, I do also want to emphasize that just having a good difficulty curve like this isn't enough. Even though we have a nice numerical, progression that seems really good, go ahead and look at this. This is a screenshot of a map I made earlier, and it has exactly the same difficulty curve up to the wool. We got 4 spawners there, some concealed, not concealed, all concealed, and then all the stuff in the wool. And it's crap. Look at this. It's horrible. Just does not look fun. No one would want to play this. So while a good difficulty curve is essential to a good level, it's a prerequisite, but it's not sufficient. We need more than that. So what we have to do is take this difficulty curve, take these individual challenges, and place them within context. Instead of a flat open room like this, each little zone within the spider's den has its own unique challenge, some environmental complication upon this basic difficulty layout. Looking at the starting area, we have almost entirely concealed spawners with water to open up some new tactical situations. In fact, even the spawners that aren't entirely hidden by trees, that spider one is still really, really hard to find. It's just put off in a corner there. The cliffs are very vertical, which give you the challenge of building a ladder, while mobs are probably dive bombing at you from above. Now, you can, of course, introduce some clever situations there. You could build a staircase to try to get around, maybe just build a giant pillar off and then bridge over, or just kind of go straight up and fight the spiders. Lots of options there. The cliff top is entirely hidden spawners, but in very flammable locations, with a large enough open area for other mobs to mix up the situation. Fighting a mob of cave spiders is a lot different than fighting a mob of cave spiders when there's also a skeleton shooting at you. And finally, the den, as mentioned, has copious side tunnels and pits for mobs to attack the player, and spider webs to keep the player moving slow, increasing the odds of the player getting flanked and surrounded. So just like how a good difficulty curve isn't enough, if there was spawner spam here, these environmental challenges wouldn't add. The map would still feel bad. But what environmental challenges will let you do is they'll let the good difficulty curve shine through and just polish it even more. It's like taking an already good meal and, adding dessert on top of it. Just makes it all the better. So, hopefully this has given you some stuff to think about when making levels. And while I certainly don't think it's necessary to figure out and quantize numbers for all of your spawners and everything, just knowing about iteration and environmental challenges should help make your maps all the more engaging. This has been Caladoon with Let's Analyze. Go and leave a like if you'd like to see more of these. I'm trying to put them out every Wednesday, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.